Hey everyone, it's Warwick Weston Wright, your commie poet, back with section 3 of the Evolution of the Empire poems. Section 3 is called Masters of the Environment, kind of represents the final stage of the evolution of empires and capitalism, and kind of represents the state of the world we're in today. So it's quite a long, deep poem. This one's a bit longer. I hope you should find it a bit more interesting. So I'll start reading, and again I'll explain some of the lines of the poem and what they mean to me, and follow up by some closing commentary as usual. Stage 3, Masters of the Environment. Slavery replaced by freedom's illusion. The bigger the coin, the greater the delusion. The kettle is black, Armada's intrusion. Where come, conquer, see, is every solution. Full of resolve, the will to inflict. Identity's entity. Psychology's conflict. Conflict of beliefs. Conflict of the mind. Questionable beliefs making us blind. Kind to be cruel, or cruel to be kind. Kind to rule, enslave and bind. Twisted beliefs, perverting mankind. In your ID and beliefs the menace does dig. The clerical attire, or the horsehair wig. The policeman's uniform, or the capitalist pig. Well, that ends that poem. I'll go and explain now what these lines of the poem actually mean to me when I wrote them. The opening is slavery replaced by freedom's illusion. This is kind of my little way of saying that, the people that are higher up in society, they're kind of slaves too. Because basically, I think, the real difference, I don't think, we live in a world where freedom is just an illusion. They give us the illusion that we're free, but we're not, and basically the people with more money that seem more successful in life, they've just got a bigger delusion of freedom. But in many ways, they're probably even less free than the people that don't have that much money. But that said, we'll go on. The kettle is black, Armada's intrusion. That's kind of common sense. They always, our society, the media always say we're the good guys and everyone else is bad. That's the stuff they spread. We all know that. And that's an excuse to invade other countries. Where come, conquer, see is every solution, And there you go. Full of resolve, will to inflict. Identity's entity. Psychology's conflict. So again, that's a little another kind of way of saying how identity and beliefs go hand in hand. I go on to say conflict of the mind, questionable beliefs. This is an interesting one in the poem. Kind to be cruel, or cruel to be kind. Funny thing is, one of the biggest kind of control tools or that people don't see is the cruel to be kind thing. If someone spoils a child, they might think they're being kind, but they're not. Because dependence is a prerequisite to control, and if you spoil a child, it makes them dependent, which actually makes them vulnerable. You're not preparing them to survive in the real world. Or another really common divide and conquer tactic, which no one sees, and it's a classic, and it's quite funny how almost every retard actually falls for this. Basically, a lot of people think to control you have to be bad to people, do some bad stuff. But one of the most common tricks to get people to fight against each other is to deliberately give more to one group than another group, and make sure you do it in front of the other group, and they'll tear into each other. This is a really cool control tool, because it's particularly useful for wicked people, and it's no good to good people. Because, like, for example, you get two people, you got one selfless person and one is a bit selfish and jealous, and you sort of I want these two people to fight. If you kind of give more money or more nice things to the jealous person, it won't work, because the good guy will wish more. Oh, good on you, mate. You got more than me. It only works against the good people, because what you do, you give more money or whatever to the good guys, and the jealous person will tear into him. It's really, really common divide and conquer tactic. They divided Northern Ireland by giving the Protestants more than the Catholics, and they tore into each other. People give Jews a hard time because they've got more money than us. Give more money to Jews in front of us, we tear into each other. I don't know. Foreigners might get these nice council flats or council housing, and they do it in front of the other people. Oh, they tear into each other. Or I don't know. After the Korean War, the South got money and got industrialized, and so the North and South tore into each other. This is the same with East and West Germany. It doesn't just work on a political level; it works on an individual level. You go into someone's household, you see two kids, you want them to fight. Give the one kid a Mars bar in front of the other kids, walk away, and those two kids will tear into each other. It's one of the most common things, which like kind of. It's actually funny enough. It's probably greatly the root of racism as well. Giving more to one to the other. I mean, personally, we forget about communism. I mean, as a mixed race person, it's quite easy for me to see this. Because you go into a place where there's a bit of racial tension. The black guy's thinking, oh, that white dude, he's making twice as much. I mean, he's doing the same thing. And the white guys think, oh, that black dude's doing the same as me for half the price, and I've got to compete with him. So. And the thing is, you got to stop and see and see that the person above both the black guy and the white guy is the mischief. They're the menace. They're pulling the strings. They're giving more to the white guy in front of the black guy and laughing their head off, watching them tear into each other, when you should be tearing into the puppet master above the both of you. But anyway, that's kind of my side of the story anyway. So that's the kind of cool bit, and the end bit, about the poem where it says, into your identity and your beliefs, the menace does dig, because they'll examine your beliefs and they know from your beliefs how they need to treat you to control you, or know what type of beliefs to try and indoctrinate into you. And I've got things like the clerical attire, for example. If a person follows a religion and wearing clerical attire, they might associate that with trust. Policeman's uniform, things like that. People, they associate a policeman's uniform with trust. People that wear a horsehair wig, the horsehair wig, in the high courts, that's associated with trust. So basically, they look at what type of person, when they want to control people, they look at what type of person you are, your identity, your beliefs, and based on that, they know how to manipulate you, basically. So that's kind of what this poem is about. Again, I'll thank you for listening to my poem. I really appreciate it. And I'll probably keep an eye out for any more posts. I might post some more poems. I've actually got quite a lot of poems that are really cool and nice that I haven't posted yet. Funny enough, I actually made a communist rap song, which is actually quite funny, which I'll probably post later on. So anyway, I'll let you go. Thanks. I really appreciate your time and listening to me, listen to what I have to say and my beliefs. I'll be posting this, obviously when I post this to YouTube, I'll be posting the words to the poem for your contemplation. I'll be posting my link to Facebook, so if you guys want to befriend me. Because I like to kind of make friends with people that have similar or compatible beliefs with myself. And I did actually say this in when I uploaded section 1 of the poem, but I'll say it again in closing. This October 25th is the 100th anniversary of the Red October Revolution and being a communist. I'm going to celebrate it by going to Highgate Cemetery in London to visit Karl Marx's grave, take a little selfie of myself and probably post it on Facebook. So with that, I'll let you go, and thank you again very much for listening to what I have to say. Take care. Bye.